So last meeting we discussed all about the principles of compression members. We discussed that there are several failure modes that we are actually expecting in our uh, compression member, and the most common failure in our compression member is actually flexural buckling. No? Flexural buckling. So, in order to determine the flexural buckling, we have to determine yung ating slenderness ratio. So, slenderness ratio is actually a measure on the tendency to buckle of a certain compression element. So, the higher the slenderness ratio, the lower will be the capacity. Again, the higher the slenderness ratio, the lower will be the capacity. So, that is buckling. No? Yan po yung buckling. So we discussed the equation of Euler, where he developed an equation regarding critical buckling load on a pin end member. No? We discussed that there are two types of buckling. Ano na nga po 'yun? We have inelastic saka elastic. Na? We have inelastic saka elastic buckling. And we mentioned, or we already discussed the difference between them. Sinabi natin that for an elastic buckling, what happened is that the column buckles even before it yields. Column buckles before it yields, and the other one, the the column yields before it buckles. That inelastic. Pag nag-yield na siya before pa siya mag-buckle, inelastic buckling po yun. Okay? So, moving on, knowing that there are two classification of buckling, or two types of buckling, we have inelastic and elastic buckling. Uh, the code actually considers these two types of buckling, yung inelastic saka elastic buckling. In order for us to determine which one is elastic and which column is inelastic, nagkaroon po tayo ng boundary. This is the boundary slenderness ratio, or the limiting slenderness, which is 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. So, if the slenderness ratio is actually greater than 4.71 square root ng E over Fy, that will be elastic buckling. And our formula for the flexural buckling stress will be 0.877. On the other hand, if the slenderness ratio is less than 4.71 square root of E over Fy, then the FCR will be 0.658 Fy over Fe, or basically, that will be inelastic buckling. So this is inelastic buckling, and the other one will be what we called elastic buckling. Okay? We also we also answer two problems, I think so. For this one, or three problems, because for this one we answer it twice. If both ends are fixed, both ends are pin, and then we answer another problem where we have to calculate for the radius of gyration, as well as uh, calculate for the DC ratio and the critical slenderness. Na? Okay. So moving ahead, continuing with our sample problems. Let's try to answer this problem given the concept that we had on flexural buckling. So for this problem, we have to determine the maximum length of W14 by 82 if it's used as a hinge column to support a service dead load of 450 and a service live load of 900 kilonewton, given that Fy is actually 450 megapascal. According to the problem, we have to use ASD. So given the properties of the W14 by 82, uh, what will be the maximum length of our section? What's the maximum length of our section? So given that we already have a load, we can use that load in order to calculate the applied load in our column. So you have the dead load plus the live load. So our load will be equal to 450 plus 900. This is equal to 1,350 kilonewton. And then we can now determine the slenderness ratio. We are going to follow the same steps that we had during our last discussion. So step number one, Step 1, we have to determine the critical slenderness. So critical slenderness. So considering the critical slenderness, our critical slenderness is actually KL over R. And we already know that this is a hinge column. So if that is hinge column, our K is equal to 1.0. So that will be 1.0 times the length, we don't have the length, divided by the radius of gyration. And it's already established that the lower the radius of gyration, the lower will be the capacity. So the lower radius of gyration is actually the critical radius of gyration in this case. No? So it will be 62.94. So that's the critical slenderness. Now, step number 2, we have to calculate for the limiting slenderness. So calculating for the limiting slenderness, given that the column is actually 836, no, column has an FY of 450, so that will be 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. So that is 4.71 square root ng 200,000 divided by Fy 450. This is equal to 99.296. So step number 3, we have to calculate for FCR or solve for FCR. However, since we don't have the length, we cannot actually compare the critical slenderness and the limiting slenderness. So if we don't have the slenderness ratio, we could actually assume. Pwede po tayo mag-assume, uh, and then we have to check at the end. I-check natin sa dulo. So for this one, since it's actually much easier, mas madali pong isolve yung elastic buckling. So I'm going to assume elastic buckling. Assume elastic buckling. So take note, I'm only assuming. Nag-a-assume lang po ako I'm only assuming. So if I'm assuming elastic buckling, then our FCR is equal to 0.877 of FE. And then solving for FE is equal to pi squared E over KL over R squared. And solving for FE, that will be equal to pi squared. E is 200,000 divided by KL over R. So that will be L over 62.94 squared. Okay? Now, since FE is a function of length, we have to input FE to FCR. FCR will be equal to 0.877 times FE multiplied by pi squared times 200,000 divided by L over 62.94 squared. So this is our FCR. Now, given that we have FCR, we can actually equate. Step number 4, we are going to equate or we are going to determine PN. No? So, step number 4, solve for PN. And we already know that PN is just equal to FCR times area gross. And since we are using allowable stress design, ASD, so P allowable is equal to Pn over omega, which is omega is actually equal to 5/3. No? So Pn over 5/3. Now, the P allowable, we are now going to equate this with our value of the axial load. The axial load that the column is actually carrying. So if we are going to equate it with 1,350, then the equation now will be 1,450 is equal to Pn. Pn is equal to FCR, which is we already have pi squared times 200,000 divided by L over 62.94 squared uh, times 0.877 times 0.877 times area. The area of our section is 15,548 divided by uh, 5 thirds. 5 thirds. And since the answer will be in Newton, I have to convert the 1350, not 450. I have to convert 1350 by Newton times 10 raised to 3. Given this equation, I can now solve for the length. What is the length? For this one, pi squared times 200,000 divided by x over 62.94 squared times 0.877 times 15548 divided by 5 thirds. Okay, shift solve. Yeah, we will have a big number, so around 6,883.945. So the answer is actually around 6,883.945 millimeter. So again, that's not yet the final answer because we are still assuming. We are assuming elastic buckling. So we have to check whether it's correct or not. We have to check whether it's correct or not. So we have to check if elastic buckling. So to check whether it is actually elastic buckling, then we have to calculate KL over R, which will be 6,883.945 divided by 62.94. That is equal to, what's the slenderness? 109 109.373. 109.373 is greater than 99.296. So that means this is indeed elastic buckling. So this is indeed elastic buckling. So our assumption is actually correct. The assumption is correct. So the final answer will now be this value, 6,883.945. Is there any question regarding this problem? Is there any question regarding this problem? As you can see, we just follow the same procedures that we have. No? We just follow the same procedures that we have. Is this clear? So it's actually the same problem, but now let's try to recalculate it. But this time, the Fy will be 248, and at the same time, we are going to use LRFD. So it's almost the same problem. We have to determine the maximum length. If it's used as a hinge column to support a service dead load of 450 and a service live load of 900. So for this one, our ultimate load will be factored. So that is 1.2 dead plus 1.6 live. So our PU will be equal to 1.2 of dead load 450 plus 1.6 of live load 900, which will give us an ultimate load of 1,980 kilonewton. So step number one, we actually calculate for the critical slenderness, that is KL over R. Since this is a hinge condition, that's 1.0 times the length. The length is actually unknown, L over R, which is 62.94. And then step number two, we determine the limiting slenderness. And we already have the limiting slenderness. That's 4.71 square root of E over Fy. But it will change. Now, magbabago yung limiting slenderness since the Fy was changed. So this is 200,000 over 248. Our limiting slenderness is what? 133.755. And then step number three, Step 3, we calculate for FCR, solving for FCR, but this time since we don't know the slenderness ratio yet, I'm going to assume elastic buckling. Again, assuming elastic buckling uh, gives me an easier calculation, no, kasi hindi siya nasa, kasi if you think about it, if you use inelastic buckling, ang mangyayari po doon, meron kang uh, uh, meron kang variable doon sa exponent. Kasi the formula is 0.658 Fy over Fe. So magkakaroon ka ng variable sa exponent. Still okay. However, it's much easier just to calculate for elastic buckling, no? So assuming elastic buckling, and then so FCR now will be equal to 0.877 ng Fe. Solving for Fe, that is pi squared E 200,000 divided by KL over R squared. So that is L over 62.94 squared. And then calculating for PU, PN, step number 4, step 4, PN is equal to FCR, area gross. And since we are solving for PU, the ultimate load using LRFD, then we are going to apply reduction factor phi times FCR times area gross. So our PU will be the applied load, 1980. So 1980 times 10 raised to 3 is equal to phi. The phi factor is 0.9. FCR is 0.877 multiplied by pi squared times 200,000 divided by L over 62.94 squared times the area gross. The area gross is 15548. So what is our length? The length is 6961.732 millimeter. Now, since this is only assumption, we have to check. So check slenderness. Check natin yung slenderness if the length is actually really elastic buckling. So calculating for KL over R, that will be equal to 6961.732 divided by the radius of gyration, 62.94. This will give us 110.609. 110.609 is actually less than 133.755. So this is incorrect assumption. So if that is incorrect assumption, then we have to recalculate using elastic buckling. But this time, this is not an assumption anymore. We are already uh, it's already given that the problem or the column will be inelastic buckling. So use inelastic buckling. So considering inelastic buckling, our FCR is equal to 0.658 Fy over Fe times Fy. Okay? Substituting, our FCR is equal to 0.658. Fy is 248 divided by Fe, that is pi squared E, 200,000 divided by L over R. Our R is 62.94, so that is L over 62.94 squared. Quantity Fy, that is 248. Okay, so that is uh, our FCR. It's a factor of it's a factor of uh, factor po yan ng length. It's a factor of the length. So if you want, you could actually, pwede nyo po siyang i-simplify given the following value. So let's just say if we simplify 248 divided by pi squared, That is pi squared uh, times 200,000 divided by 1 over 62.94 squared. So just like this, no? So so that you could have the value, you could have a value of paki-store na lang po to sa A. It will be stored on A. Paki-store po sa A. And then uh, if it's stored sa A, then divide nyo lang po. So this value divided by the L squared that we have, divided by L squared, yun po yung magiging nating exponent. Okay? So kindly store that to A. And then, given that we have FCR, i-multiply na po natin, solve for Pn. Pn is equal to phi FCR times area gross. Phi FCR times area gross, or PU. PU is equal to phi FCR area gross. Our PU is 1,980. 1,980 times 10 raised to 3 is equal to 0.9 times FCR, 0.658. The value of FCR that we have, that is 0.658 raised to 248. 248 divided by pi squared, 200,000 divided by L over 62.94 squared by times 248. That's our FCR times the area. Times the area. Our area is 15548. So with this, we can now calculate the length. What is the length? Okay. Uh, it's actually multiply. Multiply po yan. This will 6501. So this will be my equation. 1980 times 10 raised to 3.9 0.658. The value that I calculated earlier, nakastore sa A, AX squared, kasi nga may length, AX squared, times 248 times 15548. If I get the shift solve, this is the value of A. The value is 6501. 6501.7561. Okay? 6501.7561. It will be multiply kasi yung L natin pupunta sa numerator. Okay? Are we clear with this? Nakuha po ba? Same answer? Millimeter pala, not millimeter squared. Only millimeter. Did we get the same answer? Okay. Now that we have the length, let's also try to check if indeed it is if the KL over R is actually less than. So let's check KL over R. So our K is 1.0, the length is 6501.756 divided by the radius of gyration, which is 62.94. What is our value? 103.3. This is actually less than, that is indeed less than 133.755. So this is correct, inelastic buckling. So this is indeed inelastic buckling. Okay? Okay. So let's try to answer more problems again. For this one, this is actually a sample quiz. As you can see, this is a quiz from last semester. So quiz po nila to last semester. Okay? So this is the one that I gave. A billboard 2 meter high and 4 meter wide is supported on each end by a pin-connected assembly. So the total weight of the billboard is 32 kilonewton given that the height of the billboard, or hindi pala height ng billboard yun. Given that h is 1 meter, this is 1 meter, This is also 1 meter. Given that h is 1 meter and the theta is actually 60 degrees. This is 60 degrees. The wind pressure acting on the billboard is 2.0 kilopascal. Wind pressure coefficient is 1.2. So the wind pressure P is actually equal to 2.0 kilopascal and the wind pressure C is equal to 1.2. Use 836 steel and neglect local buckling. Hint, wind load is pressure times the coefficient times the area of the contact. So para makuha ko yung wind load, to calculate the wind load, please imagine the billboard that we are solving. So there's basically a billboard. If I'm going to draw it in 3 dimension, may billboard and there's two assembly at the end. So ganito po itsura niya. Can you imagine it that there's actually two assembly on both ends? There's a pin jointed assembly on both ends. Okay, there's actually a pin jointed assembly at both ends. So for us to determine the total wind load, which is acting at the center of the billboard, the wind load is equal to the pressure times the coefficient times the area of contact. So that is the coefficient times the pressure times the area of contact. So that is the coefficient is 1.2, the pressure is 2.0. The area of contact is the area of the billboard, which is 2 meter by 4 meter wide. So that will be 2 by 4, which will give us the total wind load of equal to 19.2 kilonewton. So the total wind acting at the center of the billboard is 19.2 kilonewton. We also have the weight of the billboard. The weight of the billboard is actually 32 kilonewton. The weight of the billboard is 32 kilonewton. If we are going to consider only one assembly, consider only one assembly. If we are going to consider only one assembly, let's say consider only the left side or the right side, then of course, if we are going to consider only one assembly, uh, the member will not carry all the loads. They will be divided uh into the two assembly. So the 32 kilonewton, I have to divide that by 2. So ang i-carry lang ng isang assembly, 32 over 2, that will be 16 kilonewton. On the other hand, the wind load going to the left, the wind load is equal to 19.2. So divided by 2, that will be equal to 19.2, 9.6 kilonewton. And then, applying the joint method, I can now calculate the load in our uh, members, no? Pwede ko na pong makalculate yung load. So assuming tension, mag-assume muna ako ng tension, no? Para kapag ka nag-negative, ibig sabihin compression. So assuming tension, so let's say this is our member AB, this is member AB, this is member BC. I can now calculate the loads using joint method. This is just statics. Statics lang po ito, no? So if that is 60 degrees, this will be 30 degrees and this is also 30 degrees. Huh? If that is 60 degrees, that will be uh 30. If that is 60 degrees, that is 30 and 30. No? 30 degrees, 30 degrees. So summation ng forces along the x-axis, that will be negative AB cosine 30 minus BC cosine 30 minus 9.6 is equal to 0. Summation ng forces y is equal to 0. That will give us AB sine 30 minus BC sine 30 minus 16 is equal to 0. Two equations, two unknowns. Kindly put it in your calculator. Mode 5-2. What is AB and what is BC? negative cosine 30, negative cosine 30, negative cosine 30, negative cosine 30, negative positive 9.6, sine 30, negative sine 30. Yeah. So the answer is 10.457, negative 21. Wag po kayo magkakamali sa sign ha. Ibig sabihin po kasi kapag ginagamit nyo yung mode 5.1, the C value, yung C value dapat nandun na siya sa kabila. So nandun sa other side, so dapat positive 9.6 na siya. It should be positive 9.6 and positive 16 kasi it will be transferred on the other side. Kasi if nagkamali tayo sa sign, basically, you won't be able to determine which is compression and which is tension. Okay? So in that case, the x value, given the x value that we have uh, ang AB natin is 10.457. So kilonewton, it means positive, so it will be tension. The BC on the other hand, it's actually 21.543 kilonewton. Since negative, it will be compression. Okay? It will be compression. 21.543 negative, so that is compression. So since we are designing the compression member, we are going to determine the DC ratio. I think I forgot to put it here. Determine the DC ratio. Determine the DC ratio of member BC. We have to determine the DC ratio of member BC. Okay? So, what we are designing is member BC, uh, which is actually in compression. And then, I think I also forgot to put it here. Use ASD, allowable stress design po tayo. Use allowable stress design. So given that we already have the value of the force, which is 21.543, we now have to determine what is the capacity kasi we already have the demand. We have the demand and what will be the capacity. The capacity is coming from our angle bar that was used as a section. Take note the angle bar is L60 by 60 by 6. It's an equal angle. It's an equal angle. So we have to determine the capacity coming from the angle bar. So to determine the capacity coming from the angle bar, we don't have any properties. So we don't have any properties. We have to calculate for the properties of L60 by 60 by 6. So calculating the properties of L60 by 60 by 6. So that is 60. This is 60. This is 60. And this is 6. Okay. Solving for the area will be, this is 60 minus 6. So that is 54. The area will be equal to 60. 60 times 6 plus 54 times 6. What's the area? 684. 684 millimeters squared. Calculating for the centroid, let's calculate for y bar on the other hand. Y bar muna. Let's calculate for y bar. So area total, y bar is equal to the summation ng area y. So area total, that will be 684 times y bar is equal to area 1. Let's say 54 times 6. 6 over 2 plus 60 times 6 times 60 over 2. So what is our y bar? 17.21 millimeter. So given that the section is actually equal, no? Kung mapapansin nyo, equal angle. This y bar is also equal to x bar. Equal din po yan sa x bar. So y bar is also equal to x bar kasi po equal angle po ito. Since equal angle. Kapag equal angle po siya, yung x bar natin, equal yan sa x bar and y bar are actually equal. Kasi kahit anong gawing orientation mo, equal pa rin yung position ng centroid. So, if you want to verify, so sige, i-verify natin if equal nga ba sila. So, let's try to calculate the centroid coming from the left support or coming from this reference line. So, to check calculating the centroid, that will be 684 times x bar is equal to 60 times 6 times 6 over 2 plus 54 times 6 times that is 6 plus 54 over 2. What is our x bar? I think it will be the same. Tama ba? 17.21. Okay? It's basically the same. So, dahil po equal angle sila, y bar is equal to x bar. Y bar is equal to x bar. So, calculating for ix for the meantime. So, if this is equal angle, do you agree that ix is equal to iy? Do you agree that since x bar is equal to y bar, do you agree that ix is equal to iy? Yes. So, equal din sila. So, I only have to calculate once, no? Isang beses lang. Dahil po equal sila. So, if that is equal angle, calculating the moment of inertia, that will be equal to the base. Base is 6, the height is 60, cube over 12, plus area, that is 60 times 6, transfer moment of inertia, that will be 60 over 2 minus y bar 17.21 squared plus the base 54 times 6 cube over 12 plus 54 times 6 transfer moment of inertia 17.21 minus 6 over 2 squared. What is our ix, which is equal to iy? The answer is 233.286 times 10 raised to 6. Is this correct? Can anyone else confirm? Can anyone else confirm the value of ix? Raised to 3 po. Okay. Raised to 3. So, times 10 raised to 3. Okay. So, 233.286 times 10 raised to 3. Is this okay? Can anyone else confirm? Okay. So, if this is okay, do you agree that I can now calculate for Rx, or that the radius of gyration that I will be using, I will use this value to calculate for the radius of gyration? Okay. So, of course, when we want to let me put some context into that question. Let's put some context into that question. So, we already agree that when we are actually solving for the KL over R, when we are solving for the KL over R, the radius of gyration that we should be using is actually the R minimum. There, it's already established that when we are solving for KL over R, the radius of gyration that we should be solving is R minimum. However, if we are going to use the Rx and Ry, it's not yet the R minimum, because in an angle bar, the R minimum is located on the principal axis. It means that I have to draw the Mohr circle. Since this is an angle bar, I have Ix, this is Ix, and Pxy. This is Iy and Pxy, Pyx. If you still remember the Mohr circle that we discussed on our first lecture, then the minimum radius of gyration is actually not in Ix or Iy. Do you agree that the minimum radius of gyration is not in Ix and Iy, but is actually here, this I minimum? Is that correct? That that the radius of gyration is actually not on Ix and Iy, but it's actually on I minimum. So we have to calculate for I minimum in order for us to solve for R minimum. Okay, so given that idea, we have to calculate for but we have to calculate for the product moment of inertia in order to calculate for the minimum radius of gyration. So solving for the product moment of inertia, Pxy, that is equal to the summation of area xy. If you can still remember, Pxy will now be equal to area 1 muna. Let's consider the bottom part or the left part muna, that's area 1, and then the bottom part is area 2. So the left part, 60 times 6, area is 60 times 6, and then the x value that will be equal to 17.21 minus 6 over 2. Minus 6 over 2. Positive or negative? Is it positive or negative? It will be negative since it's actually on the left side. It's actually on the left side. So that's x, and then calculating for y, the y value will be equal to 60 over 2. That is 60 over 2 minus 17.21. That will be positive since it's actually above. It will be positive since it is above the centroid. Positive. So plus the area 2 that will be 54 by 6. Calculating for the distance between the x-axis, that is positive, that is 6 plus 54 over 2. 6 plus 54 over 2 minus 17 point, 6 plus 54 over 2 minus 17.21. Positive or negative for this one? Positive. Tama? Positive. That will be positive. And then the y-axis on the other hand, or the y value, that is 54 point, that is 17.21. That is 17.21 minus 6 over 2. That is now negative. That is now negative. So we can now calculate for Pxy. What's the value of Pxy? That is negative 138.126 times 10 raised to 3. Negative 138.126 times 10 raised to 3 millimeter to the millimeter to the fourth. Negative 138.126 times 10 raised to 3 millimeter to the fourth. Okay, so given the value of Pxy and given the value of Ix and Iy, I can now plot the Mohr circle. Let's now plot the Mohr circle. So plotting the Mohr circle, we have two values, that is Ix and Pxy, as well as Iy and Pyx. So Ix is 233.286. I will drop times 10 raised to 3. So we'll just put it back later. That is negative 138.126. Negative 138.126. This is now equal to negative 233.286 times uh, times the negative or the positive value, negative of negative. So that's 138.126. Okay? So if we're going to plot the Mohr circle, plotting the Mohr circle, since Ix and Iy is actually similar, we will have this circle. Ito yung circle natin. So that means coming from top to bottom, this one, it's actually along the diameter. So this is 233.286 138.126. This is the y-axis. This is the y-axis. And this is now the x-axis. This is the x-axis, which is 233.286 times negative 138.126. Do you agree that this is the Mohr circle that we are going to plot? Yes. So now we can easily calculate for the radius of gyration. Take note, our target is calculating for the I minimum. So we can easily calculate for the radius. So the radius is actually, based on this Mohr circle, the radius is actually the 138.126. The radius is just the PXY, 138.126. So that is just the radius. So to calculate for the I minimum, it will be, given that the center is 233.2860, 233.2860. So that means our I minimum will be equal to 233.286 minus the radius 138.126. What is our I minimum? 95.16 times 10 raised to 3 millimeter to the fourth. So that means the the weaker axis is, or the weak axis where the buckling will occur for an angle bar, is not on the x-axis, it's not on the y-axis, but it's actually on an angle, at a certain angle of the member. If I'm going to ask you now, I'm going to add, what is the angle, or what is the angle from the x-axis, where the section will buckle, where the section buckles. What is the angle from the x-axis or y-axis where the section buckles? The answer is, that's correct, that's 45 degrees. Why is it 45 degrees? Because as we all know, in the Mohr circle, the angle is actually twice. So this is 2 theta. The angle between the y-axis or the x-axis is, the angle is twice the theta, which is, in this case, that's 90 degrees. So to solve for theta, 2 theta is equal to 90. So theta is equal to 45 degrees. So the axis which is critical to buckling is 45 degrees from the 45 degrees from the x-axis, x or y-axis. No? That is the angle from the x-axis where the section will buckle. Okay? 45 degrees. So if this is our I minimum, we can now calculate for R minimum. R minimum is equal to I min over area. So square root of I min, 95.16 times 10 raised to 3, divided by the area. Uh, the area is 684. What is our R minimum? 11.795 millimeter. 11.795 millimeter. Given the R minimum, that is now the minimum radius of gyration that we are going to use for the provisions of buckling, for the buckling provisions. So given the R minimum, we now go to the steps for the flexural buckling calculation. Step number 1, R minimum will be equal to R min. So KL over R is equal to, take note that for a truss element, it's always pin connected. Again, for a truss element, for a truss member, for a truss, it is always pin connected. It's always pin connected. So if always pin connected, then our K is actually equal to 1. K is equal to 1.0. Calculating for the length will be equal to calculating for the length of BC. Calculating for the length of BC, that will be equal to, since this is 30 degrees, I'm just going to use calculating for the length using sine, no? Sine 30 degrees is equal to 1 meter over L. So sine 30 degrees is equal to 1 meter over L. So L is equal to 1 over sine 30. What is our length? What is our length? 2 meters. So our length is actually 2 meters. Our length is 2 meters. So calculating for the KL over R, given the length is 2 meters, so 2,000 divided by the radius of gyration, 11.795. What is our KL over R? 169.563. 5634. Step number 2, this will be a limiting slenderness. Limiting slenderness is 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. So that is 4.71 square root ng E, 200,000. Using 836 still, so that is 248. What's our limiting slenderness? 133.755. Step number 4, step number 3, since KL over R is actually greater than, since this is greater than, this will be elastic buckling. So given elastic buckling, our step number 3 is to solve for FCR. FCR is 0.877 FE. And our FE is equal to pi squared E. Pi squared E divided by KL over R, which is 169.5634 squared. What is our FCR? 60.2095 megapascal. 60.2095 megapascal. Step number 4, to solve for Pn, that is equal to, Pn is equal to FCR times area. So that is 60.2095 times the area. Area is, our area is 684. What's our Pn? Divided by 1,000. Divided by 1,000. So that's 41.183 kilonewton. So solving for P allowable is equal to Pn over omega. So that is 41.183 divided by omega, 5/3. That is equal to 24.71 kilonewton. That is now our capacity. So the question is asking about the demand over capacity ratio. So the demand over the demand is coming from our load, which we already calculated. The load from our BC under compression is 21.543 kilonewton. So the demand is 21.543 kilonewton divided by the capacity, 24.71. Our DC ratio will now be equal to 0.872. This is less than 1.0, so the design is actually safe. So that will be our final answer. Do you have any question for this? Do you have any question? This one, quite medyo mahaba yung calculation because we have to solve for the properties. We have to use more circle. We have to solve for PXY. We have to solve for IX, IY. But the idea here is that the minimum radius of gyration is not always on IX and IY. If the section is unsymmetrical, let me say this. If the section is unsymmetrical, then you have to calculate for R minimum. So note, so the reminder here is that if the section is unsymmetrical, then calculate for R minimum. The R minimum will be the one used in our design calculation. Okay? Again, if the section is unsymmetrical, then calculate for R minimum. That's the concept that we have to understand in this problem. Is that clear? Now let's talk about brace column. So as we all know that as the length increases, the slenderness actually increases, which makes the capacity lower. So what if there is actually too much length? Masyadong mahaba yung length, and uh, we don't want the capacity to be reduced. So in order for us to have a smaller length, naglalagay po tayo ng additional support. So to lower the length and to avoid buckling, what we are doing is we are adding additional support in the form of bracing. So bracing could be a it could be a girder. Bracing could be a girder. It could be an additional support that you put into your column in order to lessen the buckling length. In order to lessen the buckling length. So let's say for example for this one. So for if you have a 26 feet column, you have a 26 feet column for this example. That the column is actually 26 feet. And since it can easily buckle along about the minor axis, then an additional support in the form of a girder was added into our column. Such that because of that additional support or because of that bracing, now the effective length or the length that will buckle was actually reduced to only 13 feet. 13 feet. So coming from 26 feet, because of the bracing, it was reduced to 13 feet. However, if we put bracing about the minor axis for minor axis buckling, take note that it does not affect the major axis. The major axis does not affect the bracing added in the minor axis. So as you can see, since the bracing is added only on minor axis, as you can see, it does not affect the major axis. So the major axis still has a length of 13 plus 13. The major axis still has a length of 26 feet. So the major axis bending is still 26 feet, and that will be our major axis. Since the additional support is only added on the minor axis. So in this case, if you have additional support, there are some notes that you have to consider. So there are some notes that you have to consider. Number one, you cannot rely on the R minimum alone to check which one is actually critical. You have to check both axes whenever there is actually brace columns. No? So number one, check both axis slenderness. Both axis slenderness. Why do we have to check both axis slenderness? Because now, the length of the minor axis and the length of the major axis are actually different. So that means you have KLX over RX and KLY over RY. So magkaiba po yung length ni X saka yung length ni Y. Length X and length Y are not anymore equal. LX is not equal to LY. LX is not equal to LY. So we don't know which one will govern now. We are not going to depend on the radius of gyration anymore. We have to calculate for the slenderness of each direction and then choose whichever is higher. Whichever is higher, whichever higher will govern. So whichever higher between KLX and KLX over RX and KLY over RY will be the one governing, which will be the critical slenderness. Another note that you have to consider here, number two, is that additional support or bracing are always pin condition, no? Pin support. So we are approximating them or idealizing them as a pin condition. So kapag nagkaroon po kayo ng bracing, that will be pin condition if you have additional support. Na? Number three notes, again, if the additional support is actually not on the center, ibig sabihin, it divides the column into an equal length. If it divides the column into an equal length, choose the longer length. Choose the longer length. Or consider all slenderness, no? If the column is divided into an equal length, then consider all slenderness. So what do I mean by that, no? Sige, let's actually have an example. Let's have an example regarding that bracing. So let's say for example we have a 12-meter column. For example, it's actually fix, and you have a 12-meter column. So now I divide the column, or let's say for example I divide the column into 4 meters and then 8 meters. This is where I put my additional support. So this will be 4 meters and this is 8 meters. So of course, based on that alone, based on the length alone, which is governing? Is it the top part? Is it the top or the bottom? The governing length is actually the top kasi yun yung mas mahaba. So this will govern. That will govern. Na? This will govern. On the other hand, let's say for example, we have a pin connected and then you have a fixed connected column. Of course, a longer length of the column will give you higher slenderness. But let's say we have a 12-meter column, and then I put in the let's say I put in the additional support here. Dito ko nilagay. This will be 5 meter and this is 7 meter. 5 meter and 7 meter. Which one will govern? Is it the top or is it the bottom? Is it the top or is it the bottom? Why do you think it's the bottom? Let's check, no? You cannot rely on the length alone. You cannot rely on the length alone because if you check, the K is actually different. This is pin, this is pin, so K is equal to 1. This is pin fix, so K is equal to 0.7. So if we're going to calculate for the effective length, KL, that is 1 times 5, that is 5 meter. The other one, K times L, K times L, that is 0.7 times 7 will give us 0.7 times 7 will give us 4.9. So given the effective length, actually, mas governing pa po yung 5 meters. Okay? 5 meter is actually governing kasi it's actually 5 meter compared to the bottom, which is only 4.9. Have you understand it? Nakuha po ba? Because 5 meter is actually longer. 5 meter is actually longer. Na? Or let's say for example, we have this one. uh, let's say we have a fix. Let's say we have a fix, then we have a pin, and then let's say again this is 12 meters, but then I divide this into, let's say this is 3 meters, additional here, that is 3 meters, and then let's say this is, let's say this one, it will be both fix na lang. It will be both fix. Okay, so it will be both fix, and you have, let's say the length is 4 meters. This is 4 meters, 4 meters. Which one will govern? Is it the top? Is it the mid? Or is it the bottom? Top, mid, or bottom? Is it it's actually the middle. This will be the governing. Because yung middle natin, the K here is 0.7, the middle is 1.0, and the bottom is 0.7. So that means the middle one will give us an KL of 1 times 4, that's 4 meters. However, the top one and the bottom one will give us zero point 0.7 times 4, which is actually lower. So the governing one will be the middle. So basically, you could refer to the effective length, not just on the length, but on the effective length. So again, ang note here, the note is actually to refer to the effective length. Effective length. Okay? Or if you don't want to refer to the effective length, you could check all the possible slenderness. All the possible slenderness, and whichever is higher, that will be your critical slenderness. So what are the examples of brace columns? Again, these are some example of brace columns. That means, as you can see, if this is the length of the column, because of the bracing added, the effective length was actually reduced. Ito na lang yung effective length niya, no? So this will be your KL, KL, KL. Okay? So even though the length of the column is actually quite long, because of the additional bracing, the length was actually reduced. But take note, it will only be reduced dun kung saan mo nilagay yung bracing. If it's added on the minor axis, then only the length of the minor axis will be reduced. If it's added on major axis, then only the length of the major axis will be reduced. Okay? It depends where you put the bracing. Okay, let's try to put that concept into calculation. So let's try to answer this one. A W12 by 79 of A573 grade 60, so that's 415 megapascal, is used as a compression member. It is a 9 meter long, pin at the top and fix at the bottom. So we have pin at the top and then fix at the bottom. Has an additional support in the wick direction at mid-height. So in the wick direction, there is an additional support at mid-height. So if that is 9 meter, this is actually 4.5 and 4.5. Properties of the section are as follows. Calculate the design axial load capacity of the column. So given that this time, there is an additional bracing. So step number 1, you really have to calculate for the critical slenderness. You have to check both axes. You have to check both axes. So critical slenderness, again, you have to check both axes. Check both axes. You have to check both axes. So about x-axis muna, about x-axis, there is no bracing. Take note, no bracing in the x-axis. So our KLX over RX, our K is still the pin connected and the fix connected. So that's 0.7. 0.7 times the length will be 9 meter. Still, since about x-axis, there's no bracing, divided by Rx. Rx is, we don't have Rx. So let's solve for Rx. That is equal to the square root of 258 points, 258 points, 258.6 times 10 raised to 6 divided by area, 14,500. What's our Rx? 133.5458. Ry, on the other hand, that is equal to, Ry is equal to 84.375 times 10 raised to 6 over 14,500. What is our Ry? 76.2821. Substituting, that will be equal to, KLX over RX. Our RX is 133.5458. What is our slenderness about x-axis? 47.175. Calculating the slenderness about y-axis, on the other hand, about y-axis. So that is KLY over RY. That is, for about y-axis, it will now be, the K on the top is actually 1.0, that's pin. And the K at the bottom is actually pin fix, so that's K is equal to 0.7. So the governing will be the higher K, which is 1.0. So that will be 1.0 times 4,500, 4,500 divided by RY. RY is 76.2821. What is our KLY over RY? 58.992. Which one is the governing? Again, the governing is the higher slenderness. So that will be 58.992, which will be our governing. So the critical slenderness is 58.992. So step two, we have to consider for the step two, considering limiting slenderness. Limiting slenderness, that is, uh, 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. That is 4.71 square root of E 200,000 over Fy 415. 103.398. So KL over R is less than 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. So this is inelastic buckling. Inelastic buckling. Next, given that we already know that it's inelastic buckling, uh, let us now calculate for FCR. Step 3, solve for FCR. Solving for FCR is equal to 0.658 Fy over Fe times Fy. Solving for Fe, that is equal to pi squared E, 200,000, over KL over R, that is 58.992 squared. Fe is 567.2095. 567.2095 megapascal. Solving for FCR is equal to 0.658. Fy is 248. Fy is 415. Our Fy is our Fy is 415. So 415 over Fe 567.2095 multiplied by 415. What is our FCR? 414.987 megapascal. 414.987 megapascal. Step number 4. Step 4, solve for Pn. Pn is equal to FCR, area gross. So that is 414.987 times area gross. Area gross is 14,500. What is our Pn? So there's some correction. This is actually equal to, that is 305.529. 305.529 megapascal. FCR is 305.529 and this one is 305.529. Calculating for PN, 4430.1705 kilonewton. And the question is asking design actual load capacity. So using LRFD, VPN is equal to zero point 0.9 times 4430.1705. What is our VPN? 3987.153 kilonewton. 3987.153 kilonewton. So that's our design capacity. Any question about this problem? When there are brace column, you just have to check both axes on their slenderness ratio. If you have different length, of course, you should consider the highest effective length. And aside from the highest effective length, you should also consider the support condition. You should also consider the support condition. So let's write once again for this one. An A36 built-up column, 10-meter long, consists of W350 by 90 with two plates welded on the side to form a box section. With respect to the x-axis, the column is fixed, and the y-axis, the column is braced at mid-height. So the properties of the wide flange are as follows. Calculate the design compressive strength of the column. So we have in I section, we have an I section with two plates welded on the side to form a box section. So we have two plates welded on the side. Uh, the plates are actually 12 millimeter thick with two 12 millimeter thickness plate. Two 12 mm plates. 12 millimeter plates. So this is 12 and this is also 12. Two 12 millimeter plates. So calculate the design compressive strength of the column. So in order for us to calculate the design compressive strength, since this is a built-up column, the first thing to do is to calculate for the properties. Let's calculate first for the properties. So area is equal to the area of the column, area of the wide flange, that is 11540, plus twice of the area of the plate, that will be 12 times the depth is actually the depth of the wide flange, uh, or the depth of the wide flange is actually, yeah, for this one, this is actually, the depth is actually 350. So W350, so that means ang depth po natin 350 millimeter. So if the depth is 350 millimeter, uh, so the depth of the plate is also 350. So 12 times 350. So what is our area? 19,940 millimeter squared. Solving for Ix and Iy, Ix will be equal to the Ix of the wide flange, 266 times 10 raised to 6, plus the moment of inertia of the plate. So we don't have to transfer since they are now coinciding. There will be no transfer about x. So the base is actually 12. The height is 350 cube over 12. 12 times 350 cube over 12. So our Ix is equal to 351.75 times 10 raised to 6. Solving for Iy is equal to, for this one we have to transfer since the moment of inertia of the plate is here, Iy plate. So I have to transfer into the center. I have to transfer into the center. So this will be our d. That is our d squared. So solving for Iy, that will be the Iy ng wide flange, 44 times 10 raised to 6, plus transfer IY po ng plate. So 2 times, dalawa po yan, 2 times. The base is 350. The height is 12. The height is 12 cube over 12 plus area. That is 350. 350 times 12 times the transfer. The distance from the center of the plate to the centroid of the I section. That is BF over 2. So that is 250 over 2 plus 12 over 2 squared. That is our IY. What is our IY? 188.253 times 10 raised to 6. With this, we can calculate for Rx. Rx is square root ng Ix, 351.75 times 10 raised to 6 over the area. The area is 19940. What is our Rx? 132.817 millimeter. Calculating for Ry, Ry is equal to the square root of 188.253 times 10 raised to 6 divided by the area, 19940. What is our Ry? 97.165. Now that we have the two radius of gyration, we can now calculate for the critical slenderness. So step one, calculate for the critical slenderness. But since it is a brace column with a length of 10 meter, so 10 meter long with respect to the x-axis, the column is fixed. So with respect to the x-axis, the column is fixed on both sides with additional support at the center with y-axis brace at mid-height. So this is 10 meter and this is 5 meters and 5 meter. So solving for KLX over RX, KLX over RX for about x-axis, the K is zero point 0.5, the length is 10,000 divided by RX. RX is 132.817. What is our slenderness about X? 37.646. About y-axis, on the other hand, about y-axis, that is KLY over RY, that is 0.7. K is now equal to zero point 0.7. It is pin fix. 0.7 of 5,000 divided by RY, which is 97.165. 36.021. So as you can notice here, the governing slenderness is actually not the weaker axis, it's not the y-axis, but it's actually the x-axis. That is because of the additional support. So because of the additional support, uh, the governing slenderness is actually about x-axis. So given the governing slenderness, step number 2 is the limiting slenderness, that is 4.71 square root ng E over Fy. 4.71 square root ng 200,000 over 248. What is our limiting slenderness? 133.755. And then since KL over R is less than 4.71 square root ng E over Fy, this is now inelastic buckling. So given that this is inelastic buckling, we solve for FCR. So FCR, step 3, we solve for FCR. FCR is equal to 0.658 Fy over Fe times Fy. Solving for Fe, that is pi squared E, substituting over KL over R, so that is 37.646 squared. What is our Fe? 1392.811. 1392.811 megapascal. Solving for FCR, FCR is equal to 0.658. Fy is 248. 248 divided by Fe, that is 1392.811 times Fy 248. What is our FCR? 230.189 megapascal. Step number 4, after solving for FCR, we can now solve for uh, step number 4, we can now solve for Pn. Pn is equal to FCR, area gross. Pn is equal to 230.189 times the gross area. Take note, the gross area that you have to consider here will be the total area. The total area, not just the area of the wide flange. So the total area is 19940. Solving for Pn, that is equal to 4589.969 kilonewton. And then step number 5, we solve for the design axial capacity using LRFD. So LRFD, VPN is equal to zero point 0.9 of 4589.969. What is our VPN? 4130.972 kilonewton. 4130.972 kilonewton. Okay?